Hey guys, hey guys, back again with another video. I have someone special on, and how about you introduce yourself?
Yo, yo, yo. I am JahWill. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer. I am a student, actually. I go to Georgia Tech. I'm in Atlanta right now. Um, yeah, I'm JahWill. Very nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Now, how about we just get right into the questions? Uh, so for you, what is your main inspiration for writing music, and what's your creative process like?
It's a great question. My overall inspiration from music is coming from everything. I would like to say I get inspired by a lot of different things. I get inspired by other musicians, other different songs that I'll hear, and of course, just the world. The world is a walking piece of creativity. So I like to get inspiration from a lot of different places. I don't have like a structure that I go to for inspiration. When it comes down to my song process, that also varies. But when it comes, I have two different artistic expressions. So Ja Will is an artist who focuses around like the real storytelling in the music. So I like to write my songs for that. Like I might start with lyrics, so I start writing first, and then either create the beat for it and or write to a beat that I already have. But then Ja is another artist who's just another persona of mine that is a hip hop rapper who focuses on like the feeling of the song more than just like the storyline. The story's there, but it's more about does the beat feel good? Does the vocal feel good? It's not as much about the meaning and the full story and what you get from the song. It's more about like, are you listening to this? Are you while you're working out? Are you running to this song? And that dictates the feel. So I like to punch in slash like freestyle when it comes to vocals on that.
That's really interesting, because like one of the things is that whenever listen to a lot of artists and a lot of like let's say books or even other rappers or other musicians, I'm always like, okay, so what do they do whenever they like whenever they're just writing the song? Does it just come naturally, or for you, like what is that like? Does it take a little time, or what is it?
I like to think it's like a train in the sense of it takes a second to get the things on the road, to get everything moving. Like it's a slow, I say slow start, not really slow, but it's more like you don't know where you're going, so you're kind of just like idly walking. Like like how fast can you get to a destination you don't know? This is what I'm kind of like. If you don't know where you're going, you can't really get there fast. Is what I'm getting at. But slowly in the process, say like if I'm walking you through the start of a song, if I'm looking at a blank slate, no beat, nothing, and I'm about to create the beat and write the vocal to it, I always look for some interesting sound or something that's gonna basically carry throughout. It might be one phrase that I really like, but I'm always trying to look for one thing that kind of gives me going, like that spark. So sometimes it's a phrase, like let's see what was a phrase recently. Oh yeah, yeah. So a phrase recently was wait, can I cuss on this platform?
Yeah, sure, I don't care.
Okay, all right. It's not bad. It's not super bad, but I just want to make sure it's unadulterated. The phrase is life gave me shit, so I sold it to the flies. And that popped into my head, so I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." That's where I started. Life gave me shit, so I sold it to the flies, and then that turned into the waters full of snakes with the fakes and the lies. How do I tell the real ones from the spies? Something like, and it basically built from that one bar, and then I have the beat that kind of came from that as well. So it's one of those things where it's a slow start, but it gets chugging, and once it's chugging, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going, we're going, we're going.
That's pretty interesting. Like I'm a writer myself, but like one of the things is that like my creative process is a little bit different, especially when it comes to videos. So like what I do is and I can actually relate to that. So like I'll write a character, but then it's like I'll have to maybe take it in one direction, and it usually takes me days at a time, but that's actually really interesting, and honestly like I kind of do the same thing. So I'm glad to see that like I'm not the only one.
For sure, dude.
Yeah.
Um, I was about to say, what do you write?
I mostly just write books. I'm working on my first book. One of the reasons why I wanted to like start a YouTube channel was also to get used to like writing normal content because I love film. I love animation. I love everything storytelling as a medium in general. That also includes music. So one of the things is that like I really like connect to storytelling as a medium. So like whenever I take a look at a book or I take a look at a manga or an anime or even a TV show, I really just sit down and just like say, okay, how am I going to convey my emotions and thoughts and my opinions on this? So that's kind of like how my process is and how like what I tend to write really. I
Gotcha.
do also write fiction, but like right now I'm mostly just working on content right now just so I can get used to more different styles.
Makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Okay, yeah, that was. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Uh what is your least favorite piece of media? Like out of like all like the different like mediums and like art forms and stuff, what would you say is like your least favorite and like why?
Mm. Watercolor paint.
Really? Like pastel watercolor painting.
Indeed, watercolor paint. And that was only just because of the fact that it was very difficult for me to get into it. I'm a very artistic person when it comes to a lot of different things, anything from visual to auditory to, you know, digital, like whatever you want to. I like art, but watercolor was one thing I just didn't get into. Well,
Mm.
couldn't really grasp to get into it. Maybe I just didn't put enough time into it. Either way, that learning curve was just a little steep.
Yeah, like I've tried watercoloring and it's fun, but one of the things is that like I'm more of a painting guy. Like I'll just sit down and paint if I'm ever given like this stuff. So like for example, I've started plastic modeling kits. I have a few over here. Hold on one moment. For like example, I'll this didn't come painted, but like usually with other kits, I'll have you would have to like paint each part of like the pants or the hair or whatever. And to me that's fun, but like I'd rather just come with them like already like this and just put it together because plastic models are hard enough putting together. Like it's one wrong thing and like you ruined the entire thing. So
That's
but like
cool though.
yeah, like that's just it's just a tricky thing. But my other question was for you, who is like your biggest inspiration for what you do and why you do this field in particular?
Mm. I'll have to give my biggest inspiration that kind of put me down the right path to my father. He like I was in coming out of high school, I was in this weird spot between do I go to college for security, get like a crappy job that I probably don't enjoy, but I know I'm gonna make money, and then live a secure job and then just kind of shelf the passion like what everyone else does. And he was like, you can find security in your passion. And I was like, oh, that hit my soul. So now it's like, I'm 100% to what I want to do in life is what I'm doing. So that is big props to him for opening my eyes to that. And, it's one of those things where it's like, he's not, sitting there like, inspiring me for each song or anything, but it's like that put me down the right route.
That's always great to hear, honestly. Like uh for me it was uh really all the media I consumed as a child. And my brother. My brother played a big impact on like what I like today. Like I like Dragon Ball, I like One Piece, I like a lot of anime, and like that's one of the main reasons also why I kind of started this channel because I always liked it to like see people making YouTube content. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm also going to school for writing. I might as well dip my toes into YouTube content because that's always something that I've always thought looked cool. But honestly, it's always interesting to hear like different people and like who their different inspirations are. And
Mm,
like a lot of the time it's either their family or like celebrities, but they never really give like a concrete like answer. They just say, oh, it's my father. But like I really liked how like you worded it out, how you were like, okay, he pushed me to make this choice and stuff like that. And that's actually a really good thing because like a lot some people just go into life and they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what makes the most.
yeah.
But I feel like if people were passionate about what they did, then I think the world would be a lot better when it comes to like art and like social and like everything else in between.
Totally agree with
Yeah.
you. So,
Uh this is my fourth question. Like, who is your favorite music artist? Like,
mm, I feel like this changes every time someone asks me. But right now, if I had to put my put my finger on one, it would have to be Jacob Collier. I'm a huge fan of his artistic expression and just the music complexity that he puts into his music.
hmm, all right. I've never really listened to any of his songs. I rarely listen to rap. But like when I heard you, I was like, oh man, he seems like a cool guy. I really liked what you put out. But like I also listened to Hobson. If you don't know who that is,
I do.
Hobson's one of my favorites. But like, you remind me a lot of him, and I'm like, oh man, he I
Thank you.
love that kind of like rap where it's more just about like it comes from the soul. It comes from a place of just like what how you view the world. And to me that's like such a wonderful thing.
Mm. Jacob Collier, by the way, he's a singer, pop singer.
Ah, okay. Well, I mean, pop and rap, they've kind of blended together. They fuse together nowadays. They're usually intertwined in one way or another, but like sorry about that.
You guys, I just wanted to make sure you knew I was who I was talking about. To definitely check
uh
him out. Like
all right. Just like shoot his like just link him not link like link his stuff to me and I'll definitely take a look. But but my fifth my fifth question is like what's your least favorite trend and or aspect about the music industry currently and how would you change it?
record labels.
Record
Record labels
labels?
are the trend. The trend is that people lose their rights to music because they sign for either an upfront deal or some sort of enticing reason for someone to sign a record label deal, and then they lose the rights to their music, and then now they just don't have like. Then not only do they not have money, but they also not don't have rights to their own music, which is very, very like what? It just doesn't make sense. But how would I change it? Almost mandate people to go independent, but that you really can't do that. It's an industry at this point. It's not just like people sharing views and ideas. This is an industry that is bigger than just artistic expression.
So it's kind of like copyright whenever like certain publishers or like different like creative fields like for example the creator of Batman, he hasn't the original creator of Batman wasn't Bob Kane, it was some other guy, and he died without even receiving a single penny of his work. And like same thing with Superman. Superman was created by like another person, but he never got the credit for it.
Mm,
And it's like that's also kind of a big thing in like the art world as a whole, I've noticed, where it's like creators will like sign contracts or make deals with companies, and then the companies are like, well, since you're not really like thinking about doing anything, well, or you're dead, too bad. Your stuff's ours. You can't take it back from us. And to me, that's just the shittiest thing on earth, because it's like a lot of people, they put their heart and soul into that, and then for it
Hi.
to be like ripped, ripped away, it's just painful. And it's like I can only imagine like how painful that is to get like it just torn to pieces, you know?
Dude, it's brutal. It's very brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like since this is a YouTube channel that has a tendency for talking about anime, video game, manga, or like pieces of like fiction in general, like what's your favorite anime, video game, or manga series, or even like piece of like art, and like why is that?
I'm torn between Death Note and Dragon Ball Super. But only
Really?
Dragon Ball Super only because of the fact that it's just the overpowered ridiculousness of the show. And then Death Note because it's very elaborate and it's one of the few shows that you can really predict. Like that show had me on my toes the whole time. If I rewatched it now, I probably would still be the same way because I forgot most of the small details that made that so like intricate and like
Impactful.
you're following it the whole time. You really never like guessing it. Unlike when I watch shows and I'm like, and then he's about to say, and then he just says exactly what I was about to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. That's not it.
Like, uh, I've actually never watched Death Note. I I've watched a ton of other different series. I've I'm a big One Piece reader. I read One Piece weekly. I grew up watching Dragon Ball as a kid. Uh, I've watched most of JoJo and like read bits and pieces of like the later stuff. I've watched a good chunk of Seven Deadly Sins. I've watched a ton of different stuff, but something that's always eluded me is Death Note. I hear all these amazing things about it, and it's like I've only watched the first episode. I It looks cool, and I in that OST in the openings, bangers, absolute bangers. Like the hard metal, I'm a sucker for like hard rock and metal. So like for me, anything that has that, I'm like on board. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. But Death Note is just one of those series that has kind of eluded me. I'll definitely get to it. I mean, I'm getting into Common Writer, and that's a series that I get recommended a lot. So, and I'm finally picking it up, and I've fallen head over heels for it.
Mm.
But that's just another series that I've really like. I've never watched it. Like I've watched like the first episode, but I that was such a long time ago. That was like when I was in middle school. So it's been a minute. It's been a real minute, and I definitely need to get back on that.
Most definitely.
Uh, like
Not sure why you haven't.
I don't know. I've read Berserk. I've read all these different series, and it's like Death Note. I don't know. I need to get to it. But like, what would you say? Like Death Note, Dragon Ball Super. Like, is there anything else? Like name your top 10
I'm
if like you've watched like a lot of anime or even a little. Like, doesn't matter. Like
gonna name
you
my
can
top
doesn't
five.
have
I'm
to be anime either.
gonna name my top five for you.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Go ahead.
One Piece, Death Note, Ranking of Kings, um, Naruto, and or Shippuden. Not the freaking first one. The original one was trash. Yeah, Shippuden for sure. And I guess I'm throwing in Super Dragon Ball Super in
Hey, I mean that's a solid list. That's a real solid
there.
list right there.
It's hard. It's
Though it's
hard
the
to
first
compete.
I've heard that someone likes Shippuden over the original Naruto. I've always heard it like vice versa.
Dude, I'm just a sucker for good like fights.
Hey,
The
I
original was
don't
just
blame
not
you.
it. Yeah, I'm definitely a sucker for good fights. Like you and like
Yeah.
it just action. Like when it comes down to it, if I'm watching a show like that, the last thing I want is something that I'm just predicting each line. Like freaking the first Naruto, of course you need it to understand the next parts, but like yeah, a lot of it was like I mess around and just skip through because I can know exactly what they're saying next. Very lame, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree with some series. Like I was like that with Seven Deadly Sins. I kind of like after the second season, not only did it just fall apart for me, but also it was like I could just predict everything coming next, and I was like, oh man, why? I was loving it. But what was your introduction to that piece of media? Like, what was your introduction to like anime or like video games, even as like a whole?
Mm. My friend put me on Dragon Ball, and definitely no. I think you know. No, my friend put me on Death Note. That's the first one I ever watched, and I got hooked on that show. And there you go. The addiction started.
I know you're a One Piece watcher or a reader. How far along are you?
I'm caught up with the dubbed. I'm not watching subbed, but I caught up with
Ooh, you're
in
gonna
Wano.
love what's coming up. You're gonna love it.
I know it.
I read the manga and
You're
oh
ahead of all
boy,
of us.
it's shit's getting wild. Shit is insane right now. I don't want to say anything, but yo,
But
you're gonna be like jaw down here for a lot of the upcoming reveals.
nice.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I know I'm subbed is like 150 something ahead of mine. And like you said, yeah, manga's probably another 100 in front of subbed.
Hmm.
So sheesh. I might have
Yeah,
to just
but
wait till
I
I'm like 40 to watch it all again because I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up anymore because I'm not trying to do like the weekly watch. That like is painful.
yeah,
And they don't
we
even update the hub like that for real.
reading it weekly is also painful. Reading it because I read it weekly, and oh man, sometimes it's like I just want to read the next chapter, and then it's like I forget about it, and then it's like, oh, that's right, there is a new chapter today. Well, I might as well read it, and
Mhm.
it's just, ugh. I I I I miss the days where I could just binge One Piece and like not have to worry. I wish I could just go back in time and just tell myself, "Hey, don't get caught up because you're gonna be like a heroin addict. You're just gonna be like, I need more."
Yep. I'm telling you. That's why I've been pretty off of it actually. So my addiction's slowing.
Mm.
But yeah, I agree. It's pretty tough, pretty wild.
So, what are some current projects that that you can share with the audience right now? Like, what are some current projects that are around the corner or anything like upcoming that you would like to announce or say anything about?
Okay, I got two things for you. I got a song coming out called One for the City. Well, I'm saying that coming out. It came out actually last Monday. So it's been out, out on all platforms. It's a Jah song, so the beat is hard hitting. The vocals are more about the feeling. It's catchy. It's one of those songs that you listen to once and you're like, now it's stuck in my head. I gotta listen to it again. Um, but then when it comes to JahWill, which is on the more R&B pop, feel more positive, more like kind of uplifting feel. That I have a song coming out the 23rd, which is a really good, like also catchy, but also just a totally different vibe. It's more like soulful, like folk. I don't know, say soulful folk pop. It's hard to put it into a genre because it has a bunch of different flavors. But yeah, it's called The Day. That's one that's yeah awesome. Definitely something to look forward to.
It sounds great. I can't wait to listen to all of it because ever since I heard you rap, I'm like, oh man, this dude's awesome. I love him. But
Thank you.
yeah, like I can't wait to listen to the one that you released last Monday. That's definitely gonna probably stick in my head because I once I listen to a song, it's like even if it's a very forgettable song, I'll remember it. I'll remember at least the
Mhm.
first few lines or like the very end or like the middle, and then it's like, oh, I can't get it out of my head. But nah, like thanks for coming on, man. I
Well,
really
thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me. Um, I dropped the links in your chat. Well, in the chat.
Epic.
But yeah, the top link is to Jacob Collier, one of my favorite songs by him. And then the second link is a link to like the song that's out right now.
That's awesome. I can't wait to listen to all this. But once again, thank you, JahWill Fannings, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an honor. And I wouldn't mind being in one of your music videos if you ever like just hit me up, man.
For sure. Where do you stay?
Huh?
Where do you
Well,
stay?
I can't talk about that right now because we're on. I don't want to dox myself, but
Drop your IP address. I'm just playing.
yeah, I'll just drop it in the chat and I'll say it right now. It's 00000044. Yo, anybody want to hit me up? Just hit me up on my IP address and come to my house. Like, yeah, we'll party. But
This is
once
like no, at
again,
least near Atlanta though.
once again, thank you for coming on, man.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
No problem.